Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of Tech Talk. Good to see your faces, as always. Mike, what do we got on agenda today?
So topic today, black scratches. I believe we've had some customer interaction with this problem, this issue. Of course, it's nice to have Josh and Tim and Brando joining us, and yourself, Milan. Who'd like to start off? Milan, did you have that bit of feedback with some customer issues coming through? Or?
Yeah, this week I had 3 different customers call me. They're on grind and seal projects, and the question I got was, I'm getting these black scratches or black half moons on the floor when I'm using the grouting diamonds or using 120s. Why is it? Where does it come from? But then we soon found out the environment they were working in, or the environment they were setting in front of the machine, wasn't quite right. So I'd like to pass it on to more technical side of things with Josh and Tim to see why this happened. Basically, from my end, I concluded that there wasn't any water, any grout in front of the machine, and heat became a big issue. So, gentlemen, what else can we pick apart in this scenario?
I don't want to talk about this one. I'm out.
Sorry, guys. Go, Josh.
I was just going to say, I think if you go through the backlog of the tech talks and you understand the gist of texture and temperature, you'll work this one out. So everyone have a great weekend, and going back through all of those old tech talks.
Josh is a bit hot under the collar by the sound of it.
Yeah. I'll let you do it, Tim. You maybe you're feeling a little more patient.
You black scratch my back and I'll black scratch your back? Is that what you're saying, Josh?
I'm a black scratch of the family, so you should probably represent.
Milan, are we talking about any particular bonds, or we're seeing it in multiple different bonds of diamonds?
Yeah, it was in multiple. All the machines were over 650 and up, so relatively heavy machines with a lot of head pressure.
Yep. I mean, like Josh has already alluded to, that it's always going to come back to texture and temperature and these sorts of things. Keep in mind that with a diamond tool, the finer the particle becomes, the smaller the amount that it projects out of the face of the metal of the segment. So that the distance from the tip of the diamond that's projecting out of the actual face of the metal compared to where the metal is, it becomes very, very small. So we're essentially, the finer we go, the more metal we're essentially just rubbing across concrete because the diamonds just aren't very big anymore. So we're going to get heat generated much, much quicker in that circumstance than in our 16s and our 30s and our 50 grit metals. So what they're seeing is rapid temperature build-up, which just makes diamond tools glaze over. So we get the metal smearing over top of the actual diamond particles as well. And that greyness is essentially just metal being smeared onto the floor. Why doesn't it just give consistent smearing all the time? Well, sometimes it does, but often it's passing over a particular type of aggregate where it's reacting more from a temperature point of view, develops a really hot spot, and then smears some additional metal on top of that. So, I mean, you already mentioned there was no grout, there's no water present. Why would we be thinking about introducing those things into the equation?
To cool the tool down.
Yeah, to cool the tool and obviously and create some abrasion around it. So the grout obviously is going to keep whatever dust is being created in abrasion close to the tool to keep that artificial sort of introduction of something to keep some wear going. And we just need to really enhance and encourage that wear in the metal, so those diamond particles, even though they are very small, are still projecting out further from the face and being able to create texture and do something. It's a really fine line, but I guess what they're trying to do is get a nice smooth finish on their concrete, but also, we see there's people trying to clean up after their grout and so forth too. They've got grout smears all over the concrete, they want to clean them up, but as soon as they start not introducing any more grout or whatever to keep that process going, they start getting these smears and swirls and so forth. It's just purely temperature related.
And Tim, when we talk about adding water into the process, or even like a cut stick type into the process or something like that. Like, are we talking about a really damp slab, or are we talking about having a good sort of pooling of water around and water sort of plentiful, or is it just something that we really need to soak that slab, or again, is it more beyond that more so?
Look, I think a lot of it's going to come down to what the contractor's trying to achieve. Clearly, if they're doing a grind and seal, they don't want to add too much moisture into the equation, because then they're depending on what they're going to be sealing with. Often they're going to have some concerns about moisture content in concrete, so they're going to want to probably steer away from using too much water. Obviously, just using water alone is going to just create slurry, so that's just going to be a type of mud that they're going to be pushing into the concrete. So a lot of people are going to work, then that's going to have to be cleaned off somehow as well. So some of these things affect what's the next process. What are they doing are they running something after that fine diamond to clean up the concrete, to get rid of any smears, to remove any slurry, all that sort of stuff? I would be asking those questions. What's the final endpoint that they're trying to achieve, and what's the best way to get to that with create the least amount of work, the least amount of mess, and not introducing all these other factors into the equation which may influence the sealer from a moisture point of view, or a bonding adhesion point of view with slurry in the pores of the concrete, those sorts of things. So all important considerations. We're always working to an endpoint, and we need to understand what that endpoint is in order for us to be able to give the best sort of recommendation in that case.
I guess there's a few ways, to achieve that end result. And one, you mentioned that if there is a next pass, what are we using? What's generally, let's say I went dry, I see the black scratches, what tool would I go into next? And my go-to tool will normally be a ceramic, just to clean it up with a 30 or a 50 grit, just to get rid of that. I guess there are other ways we can get to that. Instead of going dry with, let's say, the GRTs, we could finish at a 60-80 metal and then transition into a ceramic as well, get us the same result and still have the three-step process, I guess.
Josh is doing a lot of nodding and shaking of the head there. Josh, what are you up to?
No, I'm agreeing with Milan. You would drop a step and you would leave a better profile in the floor to get the ceramics cutting at their optimum speed and capacity. So I'd be all for that. Skipping that 120 or the GRT and just jumping straight into that ceramic, provided you're not grouting, and you could potentially even go for a 60-80 grout instead, and then jump into ceramic. It's just about trying to work out what's the best shift here.
And that was my other question, which I think you've answered, Milan, and that is, I have done this, and I've gone through and I've done my 100 square meters, and I've now only noticed all of these marks and so on. So what would be the best fix? And that would be then maybe look at going over with a ceramic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that would be at low speeds, I'm assuming, because you've removed a lot of the texture already. And we know that because the previous tool has left black marks all over it, which means that it's over profiling that floor itself. So it's not even a 120 profile, if that's what we're using before. It's probably closer to like a 200. So jumping into it with a ceramic and expecting it's going to cut, you're going to have to keep the temperature down and back off some speed and walk over it slowly, because you've lost everything.
You're asking a lot of the ceramic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably a nicer way to put it than what I said. That's why you're out there and I'm in here.
All good stuff, guys.
Awesome.
I want to go out and do a grind and seal now. It's been a couple of days.
Now, I know we talk about concrete polishing a lot, or mechanically polished concrete, so it's nice to be able to talk about some grind and seal for our customers as well. So, because I know in certain scenarios that's the only, whether it be budget or slip rating requirement, that's the finish that they're going for. So, no, I think it's a good topic, guys, and yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of right in the middle. I mean, we even talk a bit about prep grinding and things like that. So, yeah, it's good to sort of hit in the middle there, isn't it? Absolutely.
Prep grinding. I like that one. Start them young.
That
All right, guys.
doesn't look like beer. What is that?
H2O. We've been talking about water so much, you've made me feel like some. That's all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, gents.
Brando, you're going to wrap it up.
All right, well, that's this week's Tech Talk. Have a great weekend, guys. Hopefully we've been able to help you out, and look forward to the next one.
Oh, this is like ball for this one.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
The meeting winning. That's the line.
That's all the credit we have left.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I have to put more money into this thing.